So hello everyone. Turns out Anthony's not a Jet. Nice little coinky dink that was, but it was reported last night that he would sign a deal with them that would pay him 15 million a year, roughly. I think, or they're saying like at least 15 a year. So that kind of made me wonder when they broke the initial news, or when I saw it, I was like, how much should we just pay this guy? Turns out that we paid him about 13.5 million a year here because he signed a 5-year deal worth $67.5 million. With incentives, it can go up to 77.5 million, and it also has 33 million in guarantees. So it's a hefty lump of money. But in order to justify the contract, I think they do need to actually use him more aggressively. And I know it's something that we can actually do more so on this whole unleashing him thing, just because I thought he did play better in those last 3 or 4 games where all of his sacks came in. They used him more aggressively, so they proved they can do it. If they start using him like that, this contract really isn't that bad, just because you're talking about another pass rusher that adds a lot of versatility to your defense. It can be a real difference changer. And the way they're using him before, just as this true off the ball linebacker, doesn't make too much sense. But if they start doing that, it comes around. It comes full circle. Even back from his times at UCLA when he was, rushing the passer, you think of that. It's like, oh, when we first got him, it was like, oh, he's going to put his hand in the dirt. He's going to be our new end, right? Because we just signed Griff at the time, and it was like, we'll have him, Barr, and Robeson, and those will be the main three that we have, and then we'll just go. And it just never happened. And I think if as long as we're talking about this, we at least have a guy who can come from various spots. And I think they kind of learned that at the end of last season. Hopefully, we can go that for a whole season. But that is what it is. And it has yet to come out on how they paid this man, because they only have about $9 million in cap. Now, usually $70 million over 5 years, those kind of contracts don't really happen when you have $8-9 million in cap room. So I will assume we will shortly get some news, likely about either Kyle Rudolph or Everson Griffin, whether that's, they were cut or restructured. And I know some people think they were also part of trade talks, at least a little bit, but those were the two most likely candidates to see a reduction in their contract. And there also is some talk about Trey Waynes getting traded for that $9 million cap hit he has for his 5th-year option. But I don't really see it happen, as Holton Hill was present during the whole Rock Thomas thing, from what I read. So maybe you hold on to Trey Waynes, because the reason why you would trade Waynes is because, you have depth and you believe in that depth. And Holton Hill, if he gets arrested for marijuana charges, you're struggling a little bit. Because if you don't have Waynes, it goes Rhodes, Hughes, who was a rookie last year, who's coming off a torn ACL, Alexander, who played the nickel well, and those are your top three. If Hill is arrested and you don't have Waynes, it becomes a problem. But if you have Hill, it's not as much of a problem. But I don't know if it's a for sure that we have Hill or not, whether or not he obviously, once again, there's a law thing involved. So if he gets arrested, he gets arrested, or he could be suspended. If he doesn't, he could possibly get both. And if he's arrested, he's probably just cut. So I doubt you'll see Trey Waynes traded after that little incident. I just have my doubts about that. And I wasn't a big fan of handing Barr a giant contract. I really wasn't. I thought we could probably find a better fit for the defense as a whole. I do understand Barr is a very talented player. I just thought maybe we weren't using him the right way. But if he had an issue with being used in certain ways the past years, I doubt that wouldn't pop up in this contract. I bet that was discussed a little bit if he's coming back, if he wanted to rush the passer more. It's like, they're paying me to do this, and that's what I would like to do. Are you guys going to do that as well? And it was said they kind of sweetened the deal a little bit later. And I bet the incentives come in where, you have the sack opportunities. That's my assumption. I don't know what the incentives are, but that is what it is. And Barr has been in Minnesota since Zimmer's been here, essentially. He was the first draft pick that Zimmer picked. And even if you don't like the move that much, just because, once again, cap room, all that other stuff, there's probably going to be some people out there like, well, cool, we have Barr, but who's playing guard? I know there will be people who say this. I am aware of these people. But at least it is one less hole to fill, and you kind of keep the locker room together of sorts on that defensive side of the ball, where they've kind of prided themselves on doing that. Because, like, if you look at it, they kept Everson Griffin, they kept Daniil Hunter, they extended Linval, they extended Kendricks, they extended Rhodes, they extended Harrison out there. And then, obviously, now Dejo's gone, but you pick up the tender on Anthony Harris, and more or less it kind of stays like, you play well, we'll try to keep you around for as long as we possibly can. And that, I think, it kind of just continues the trend. And Barr's played well for the most part over the course of his first 5 seasons. So here it is. Now, as of right now, anyway, Barr is supposed to be a Viking. Now, barring a change of mind, of course, we don't know. It's not official yet. We've learned with Barr that apparently he can just be like, and it is out. But I assume since numbers actually came out on this one, we're good to go. All these things, yada, yada, yada. He's in Minnesota for 5 more years. That's my guess. I would like to know what you guys think about this contract down in the comments below. And until next time, I bet y'all do.